Welcome to Horns High Studios. I'm here with you for another 666 seconds of murder. That's 666 seconds or less. That's 11 minutes and 6 seconds. So I don't have a lot of time. I got to get to it. And I'll tell you what, this is another Idaho 4 discussion, but specifically about the private driver, Eric Gower. This one got quite a bit of buzz, and so I wanted to bring up some more stuff about him that I've learned. So important to mention, this is for entertainment purposes only. These are my own personal theories, ideas, conjecture, comments, speculation. I am not saying anyone is guilty. We are just having a conversation about a case that interests so many of us. And this particular guy has been quite the buzz here lately. So a recent episode that I did on him, definitely got a lot of views, a lot of people discussing it. There were other channels that were featuring my content on him. Now, if you're not familiar with him, he was the private driver that drove Maddie and Kaylee home from the grub truck that night. He was identified in the Pennsylvania PCA, not the Idaho one. He was redacted in the Idaho one, but he was noted in the Pennsylvania version, and they misspelled his name to Grower. Not sure if that was on purpose or what was the thought process there. But one thing that I mentioned in that video that was wrong, and I'll probably never live it down because every time I look at the comments, I just shake my head. I said incorrectly in my last video about this that the DoorDash order that was for Xana was Taco Bell, and it was really Jack in the Box. And boy, people got all fired up about it, telling me to check my details and all this. There is a lot of stuff out there on this case, as you are all well aware, and it is very difficult to keep it all straight. I'm doing the best I can. Apologize for the mistake. I did pin a comment up at the top to let everybody know, hey, I know I made a mistake here, because I didn't want to have to redo the whole video over something like that. So anyway, I wanted to point that out. Now, there are more things about him that I did want to discuss. I did see that there were some other channels that were reporting that Eric Gower was a lot older than the one that I reported on, which is 29 years old, PhD, who worked for the University of Idaho. And I am confident that I'm talking about the right one. I believe the other channels that said that he was a lot older are incorrect. Now, there are a lot of comments on my video that mentioned that he was likely providing rides to get some extra money, talking about that PhDs, have a big debt of all the schooling they've done and all this. I get that. But everything I've read about this, he did these rides for nothing, okay? So that definitely makes him a little suspicious, especially being a married guy. I know a lot of you in the comments agreed with me there. Just not something for a married guy to be doing at all hours of the night with drunk college girls in his truck. It just seems off. It doesn't seem right, but whatever. There were also commenters who mentioned some past Facebook posts by Eric where he posted pictures of female hikers and made some sort of comment to the effect of Facebook makes it easy to stalk women or something to that effect. That's super creepy. I mean, that's just horrible. So coupled with the idea that he's giving these drunk girls rides home at all hours of the night for nothing, in my opinion, throws up a huge red flag here. I mean, not only red flags, but flares shot up into the sky over this. I heard on Nika's Neuro Nuggets about Eric's father living in Knox, Indiana, apparently visits him very often, which is great. But oddly, that's an hour's drive from Delphi, Indiana. And if you're not familiar, that's the scene of another horrible true crime case with two young girls losing their lives in 2017. And it is just kind of an odd coincidence. I'm certainly not saying that he did that. I'm just saying that that's just kind of odd. And by the way, I'd love to know what he was doing on those days there in February of 2017. Was he visiting or not? I don't know. Makes you wonder. There were some comments about the fact that he knew Steve G from working at the University of Idaho. He was a family friend. This would not be the first time that a family friend has done something awful to somebody in the family. I mean, it's terrible, but it happens. So I wouldn't say that really means a whole lot to me. To me, it almost makes him more suspicious because he would have known about Kaylee and Maddie. Maddie was basically a fixture over there at their house. So was he obsessed with these girls? Makes you wonder. Don't know. Okay. Family friend, would have definitely known them. And saying that he also said he was friendly with the girls, talked about that he knew Xana. He'd obviously given these girls rides before. Had he ever been in the house? I don't know. But it just makes you wonder. I also saw an interesting episode on the Get a Clue channel where he mentioned and showed parts of my Eric Gower video. I mentioned that in another video of mine. He shared some video from Linda Lane. Now, not the one that most people have seen. This was the 1330 Linda Lane footage. And he points out where he believes Eric's truck is dropping the girls off at 1:56 a.m., which is what he told the police. But in his version of the story, he just dropped them off. He didn't even pull in the lot because he didn't want to be robbed. He said that puts him in danger. So he just pulled up on the street and let them off, and he didn't even see them go in the house. Now, I got two issues with that. Isn't that what he was claiming his entire purpose was of giving these girls a ride was to make sure they got home safe? I mean, what man lets two girls drunk walk to their house and not make sure they go inside and that they're safe? I mean, that just seems odd. So was he that comfortable with the neighborhood, or was it dangerous where he didn't want to pull in and be robbed? Which one was it? Because you can't have it both ways. That story just seems strange to me. And then Get a Clue shows the video of the truck leaving the site several minutes later. So not just a minute later, which might jive with his story of just dropping them off and leaving, but several minutes later. So what was he doing during those several minutes? We just don't know. But I doubt the police did a whole lot to clear this guy, given the fact that his wife worked for the police department. I mean, this just stinks. I mean, it really does. So many of us are suspicious of everything about this case, and these things just stack up. I mean, it's unbelievable how much of this crap there is with this case. But I think we're going to probably be back here talking about Eric Gower at some point, because I just don't know about this guy. And I know a lot of you feel the same way. So I don't know. It makes you wonder. So as always, leave your comments. Love to hear what you guys have to say about it, but keep it civil, and we'll see you guys next time.